Anytime that something happens that people don't like, it gets called evil, it gets called satanic. And so anytime that there's a murder or an act of violence or something going on outside of the norm, it gets called that. The Satanic Panic was a time, mostly in the 80s through the mid-90s, where people's anxieties about what they viewed as satanic was really kind of boiling to the surface.
A lot of panic comes out of misunderstandings and the word Satan itself.
There was a period where there were some daycare people who were being accused of abusing the children in the name of Satan.
Children who attended the McMartin Preschool in Manhattan Beach, California, told of seeing teachers in dark robes, watching small animals killed, playing sexual games, drinking blood, and eating feces.
In the early 80s, you had serial killers like Richard Ramirez, who did claim to be a Satanist, and you had things like Dungeons and Dragons and video games, and it just kind of rolled itself up into this moral panic where people were blaming Satanists.
It never went away. People are still afraid of Satanists. We recently did an interview for Adopt a Beach, and people were shocked that we were doing it even though we were cleaning a beach. I hope the perception will one day go away, but I don't think it necessarily ever will.
Most Satanists, like myself, were atheistic Satanists, so we don't believe in God, and therefore we don't believe in the devil. We don't believe in the supernatural. We're not summoning demons. However, we are using Satan as a symbol for independence and autonomy, for the earthly realm.
If you are against all the things that God is for, and God is for good and life and love and joy and peace and reconciliation, then I think if you stand against those things, you are evil. So I believe Satan is evil and not one to be flirted with.
The Satanic Temple embraces activism. It's within my best interest to engage in activism because I'm better able to express myself as an individual if I have the same rights and privileges as everyone else, and Christians have a dominant privilege in this country.
Some of the Satanic Temple's protests do have an element of performance art or theater. The infamous milk protest, where members were protesting for reproductive rights by wearing baby masks and dumping milk on themselves.
It did get a point across a lot of people saw it as shocking, and it was, but so is the fact that there's people out there that don't want women to have their own rights over their own body.
From what I know of Satan, if you are supporting Satan, if you are standing for evil, I think we have the right to kind of go, this is wrong. Your beliefs are actually hurting others and can lead to the proliferation of evil in our society.
Lucien Greaves is the co-founder of the Satanic Temple, and he joins us tonight. There's no comparison between Satanism, which is like a silly made-up religion which has no God, even non-theistic as you've conceded.
It's not an arbitrary label.
Right. I wish you were more
straightforward. I think you could really get into it.
Yeah, probably not.
So,
yeah, whatever.
Either take
you're
away
making
the
a nonsensical point, and I think you should crawl back into your hole. Thanks for joining us tonight. I appreciate it.
So even if someone has never had an experience with Christianity or Satanism, I think just within the cultural air we breathe, there is a sense that Satan is not good.
Well, we're here to help. We're not here to be, a spectacle, and we're fighting for your rights just as much as ours.
Most people don't have, a real understanding of what it's about, what it means.
The media largely portrays it as something that's non-serious and for edgelords. I come from Oklahoma initially, and the environment down there is very hostile to anyone that isn't Christian. There's churches on every corner. I've been spit on in public. I've been surrounded and prayed at. I've been assaulted.
What the public perceives us to be. I think everyone thinks that we're off sacrificing babies or animals, and I mean, we're pretty much like the biggest animal-loving nerds you can find. And one part I think what's really important about, TST is that we're trying to bring modern Satanism to light and educate people on what we're actually about.
Satanism means to me feminism, LGBTQ rights, independence, separation of church and state, along with, being an atheistic Satanist, the fact that we're just here on earth in this time that it is now, and we need to believe in things like science and fact as opposed to myths and stories.
I think right now is a really good time for Satanism to be a thing. I mean, we're entering some almost dark times right now, and I think a lot of people need Satan. There's a term like, y'all need Jesus, y'all need Satan. We all have our own minds now, and I think we could really shape the world into being something a lot more progressive and not archaic.